Yo, 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 yo! Welcome to another edition of the Willie Green Show, and I'm gonna start something new on the show, and it's called like advice columns or something like that. I don't know what I'm gonna name it yet, but I know there's a lot of people out there who want advice, who need a real nigga advice. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the man for the job. You know what I'm saying? So today's first video, someone is having church issues, and they want my take on it. And the issue is that she has organized a marriage retreat for her church, basically for married couples to go out on, I don't know if it's for a weekend or whatever, but she has organized an event for married couples only, for married couples to go out and basically either mend fences in their relationship or even make their marriage stronger. And there's a particular young lady at her church, 27 years old, still living with her mom and her daddy. Okay, she's and not only is she living with her mama and her daddy, her and her boyfriend are living with her mama and daddy, fucking in this lady's house, sleeping and shitting in this lady's house. And she asked her if she can go to the marriage retreat, and she told her no, and she wants to know if she was wrong. Well, honey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that you were wrong for what you said. I think that you made the appropriate decision. I think that this young lady, first of all, she has no business even asking you, can she even go to a marriage retreat, because, well, she's not married. I mean, that right there alone, that title right there alone should let you know you're not invited, But I think because her mom has a prestigious position either in this church, or her mom and her family is well known at this church, that she probably felt like she was exempt for the rules. I think that you did the right thing by standing your ground. I would not compromise that, regardless of who her mother is. Because quite frankly, her mom has so many issues going on at her house that, for her to even, suggest to even speak to you about the issue. I don't know if her mom has made a comment to you about the issue, but at this point, you have to look at it from a perspective of this. Her mom's house is out of order. But nevertheless, that is her house, and she can run it the way that she feels that she wants to run it. If she's comfortable with her daughter and this dude fucking in her house and shacking up and sexing up in her house, that's totally her choice. You don't pay the bills there, so I wouldn't even get into that portion of it, because quite frankly, that has nothing to do with you. But when it comes to something that you have organized and that you call the shots on, absolutely not. I will stand my ground regardless of who her mother is. So you actually did the right thing. Let me go a step further here. Let me just say that this lady, who's allowing her daughter to sleep with this guy in her house and this thing like that, see, it concerns me because it's my understanding that not only does this girl have sex with her boyfriend all around her mama's house, she talks to her mom like a dog, talks to her any kind of way, doesn't respect her mom. But see, that right there shows me the hypocrisy, and that's the thing that really agitates me about the church, especially the black church at times. You get a lot of people, what they do is they want to preach one thing to you and judge your life, all the while they household out of order. And we can't have that. Not on my watch. I wouldn't tolerate that. I would definitely call the devil by his name and say exactly what it is. And I think that this lady needs to get her home correct. She needs to get her house in order. I think that this, and it's also my understanding that this young lady is also a single child. And so you got to understand something. The reason this girl felt comfortable enough to come and ask you about that is because there's not a sense of responsibility in her house. She doesn't have a sense of responsibility in her own house. And basically, if she's the only child, she's probably used to getting away with anything that she wants to do. She's probably used to doing what she wants, however she wants to do it, however long as she does it, and there's not a level of responsibility that's being forced on her to get the fuck up out the house and do something with herself. And I think that this dude he should feel even more shocked and ashamed of himself, the fact that he's actually living with his girl's parents. Nah, my nigga, I moved out of my mom's house when I was 16. You see what I'm saying? And never turned back. You know what I'm saying? So, you have to, it's a level of responsibility that needs to be taken from all parties involved. But when it comes to something that, once again, that you have organized and that you called the shots on, you did the right thing by standing your ground. And the only reason why other people around you are not saying anything is because, we just live in a world that people are afraid of confrontation. It's the truth. We live in a world that people are afraid of confrontation. They're politically correct at all times. They're afraid to say what they want to say. And I applaud you for standing up and sticking to your guns and telling her no, she cannot go, regardless of who she is. Okay? And also, let me go a step further and say that I'm not sure if this is the church for you and your husband. But I won't speak that because, quite frankly, I'm not God and I don't know. But what I will say is this. I think that you and your husband need to go into prayer and just ask God if this is the church for you guys. Because it seems to me like it's more high school gossiping and games going on at this church, or little fraternities or cliques going on in the church versus the word. But I also remember that you told me that you get cleansing and you get a good spiritual nourishment at this church. And so I definitely wouldn't advocate that you leave. But however, I would say that you go into prayer with your husband, and you ask and pray to God that He shows you guys what to do. Okay. And quite frankly, that's just basically my opinion. I mean, because the Word of God says that He's only going to have you some places for a season. The Word of God says that some things only last for a season. He may only have you at this place for a season. You may only supposed to be at this place for a season. And some people, they try to stay past their season, and then they get into all kind of other things. God may just have you there for a moment just so you can draw people in, and then you leave. Maybe. God may have you there just to draw people in who need it. Okay? And once you have fulfilled God's work, He sends you somewhere else. So I encourage you and your husband to go into prayer, but don't you move. You and your husband, do not move until you guys know that you have heard God say, it's time to leave. And that's what I feel. Do not walk away from that church. Don't go off of emotion. Do not walk away from that church until you know that you have heard God say, it's time to leave. Okay? Because the Word of God says that when 2 or more are gathered in His name, He will be in the midst. So if you're praying on your end with you and your husband, and I'm praying on my end, I will hope that we can come to some decent results in reference to watching God move and letting God do what He wants to do. Because God's gonna have He's gonna have the final say so, regardless of what I pray for, regardless of what you pray for. And that's what I believe. And I believe that you need to. In situations like this, you need to stick to your guns. You did the right thing by telling this young lady that she can't go. She needs to get her life together. And also, let me go a step further and say that this mom and dad who's allowing this stuff to go on, it concerns me, because how can they even, once again, I think I reiterated this, but how can they even, I wouldn't even value any type of counsel from her. I'm just being honest. And I understand that nobody's life is perfect. I understand that my life isn't perfect. I mean, I think I said fuck maybe a couple times in this video, but then I come right back and I know my Bible. You see what I'm saying? So there is people who is in a spiritual battle, as am I. I'm in a spiritual battle right now that but I can admit that. Some people can't even admit that they're in a spiritual battle. I'm in a spiritual battle. You know what I'm saying? One day I want to do the Lord's work. One day I say something else. You know what I'm saying? So and it could be contradictory, but it's not contradictory if you're acknowledging that there's a problem and you're waiting on God to do what He's supposed to do. Some people can't even admit it, and that's what separates me from the masses. But back to this lady here, I believe that it would be difficult for me to even accept counsel from her when you have hypocrisy and all this other stuff going on in your life that you're refusing to acknowledge. So just think about that, and so I would keep people out your house. I wouldn't discuss my personal family business with that church, because just from what I'm hearing, no, because God can fix that before they can. They're just gonna gossip. So once again, I applaud you. You did the right thing. You stood your ground, and I find nothing wrong with what you've done. And that's my advice to you. And once again, you and your husband pray. You guys go into prayer, but do not move. Do not move until you feel like you have heard God's voice and He has told you it's time to go. You stand. I love you guys, and I'm Willie Green, and that's my advice.